Listen here.
Ugandan security forces targeted members and supporters of the opposition National Unity Platform during and after the country's January 15th general elections, according to a new Amnesty International report released Thursday. The rights groups documented killings, arbitrary arrests and torture, accusing the security apparatus of a deliberate crackdown aimed at silencing political dissent. DW's Frank Yiga has more from Kampala.
Now, we need to know Frank Yiga, where he's getting his report, because he's a Ugandan. Frank Yiga. Let's see what he says here.
Amnesty International says Ugandan security forces killed at least 16 people, arbitrarily detained.
Pause right there. Security forces killed at least 15 people. Are you kidding me?
3 months on, no officer has faced accountability, and Ugandan authorities did not respond to Amnesty's request for comment.
Do you know why? Because nobody is being held to account, because the violence meted onto innocent people was sanctioned by Museveni and his son.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. The Amnesty International has released its report on the 2026 elections in Uganda, where they're examining what went down. It is an autopsy that is coming in really late, but regardless, it is very important to look at because while it might not paint a clear image of what went down in Uganda, because they're trying to be accurate and probably conservative in stating facts because they don't want to appear like they are attacking the Ugandan government, but it sort of paint that image. Okay, let me go on and show you a little bit of the reporting from DW, and then from there, I'll give my commentary. Oh, we're going to read the report together. Listen here.
Ugandan security forces targeted members and supporters of the opposition National Unity Platform during and after the country's January 15th general elections, according to a new Amnesty International report released Thursday. The rights groups documented killings, arbitrary arrests and torture, accusing the security apparatus of a deliberate crackdown aimed at silencing political dissent. DW's Frank Yiga has more from Kampala.
Now, we need to know Frank Yiga, where he's getting his report, because he's a Ugandan. Frank Yiga. Let's see what he says here.
Amnesty International says Ugandan security forces killed at least 16 people, arbitrarily detained.
Pause right there. Security forces killed at least 15 people. Are you kidding me? I mean, again, this is what I said. They're trying to be conservative and not to maybe sound sensationalist, sensationalize. Oh my, that word is a little difficult. But to sensationalize the story, to be hyperbole. I think that's what they're trying to do. Hey, we don't want to exaggerate here. There's no exaggeration. I mean, if you say 15 or 16 people were killed, what do you have to say about Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the commander of the Defense Forces of Uganda, who wrote on his X platform and said, we have killed 22 NUP terrorists, though we don't have terrorists in Uganda, who belong to the National Unity Platform, a political party led by Bobi Wine. So he's accusing a political party of being a terrorist group. But he said, we have killed 22 of its members, and you're reporting 16. There's a little bit of contradiction, unless you're going to say, hey, we tried to talk to Muhoozi to tell us, who are these people that were killed.
Hundreds and tortured opposition supporters before, during and after the January 15th elections. The report is significant. It represents the most detailed documentation to date of the scale of the crackdown and adds to the mounting international pressure on Kampala to hold its security forces accountable. 3 months on, no officer has faced accountability, and Ugandan authorities did not respond to Amnesty's request for comment.
Do you know why? Because nobody is being held to account, because the violence meted onto innocent people was sanctioned by Museveni and his son. Like they told us they would do this. Museveni warned that if you protested, his soldiers had guns and each gun carried 120 bullets. What for? Protest is a constitutional right in Uganda's constitution, but it says, hey, if you protest. Now, he is good at playing with the language. Every time he addresses protesters, he refers to them as rioters. I have to realize we've never had a situation where Ugandans protesting against a political situation were granted green lights to go on and protest. But those who protest against the ambassador of the US or who makes comments or who might call for holding Muhoozi Kainerugaba to account are always protected by the Ugandan government. They're given security. All roads are cleared for them because you know what? They are protesting in favor of Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Museveni's son, and Museveni's criminal regime. But the moment you protest against the Museveni criminal regime, they switch, they play with the language. It is not a demonstration or a protest anymore. They call you a rioter involved in a riot. So Museveni was saying, hey, if you protest, remember I have soldiers who are going to kill you.
Reactions here in Uganda have been mixed.
People were arrested regardless of what political party you do actually affiliate yourself with. But to me, I think there is need to call action to these people that have actually violated these laws to be able to be put to account. Because if challenges like this are underlooked, then what happens tomorrow?
If the cases are there, then let them be addressed to court, and the people who are involved, let them be charged so that they can act as an example when such incidents are happening. Because we need free and fair elections and peaceful. You never know, that can bring up a change.
Uganda
Doesn't sound like mixed reaction. They said, Uganda's reactions are mixed. Doesn't sound like it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on and look at this report by the Amnesty International. It says, Uganda authorities must investigate elections-related killings, arbitrary arrests, and torture of opposition members and supporters. They go on to say, Uganda security forces targeted members and supporters of the opposition party National Unity Platform with lethal force, arbitrary arrests, torture, and ill treatment before, during, and after the 15th January general elections, Amnesty International said today. The organization received multiple reports indicating that between 15th and 18th January, the Uganda People's Defense Forces and the Uganda Police Force likely killed at least 16 people across the country using unlawful force. Now, the number is more than 20, the number is more than 30, but they're reporting 16. They also arbitrarily arrested hundreds, subjected some to incommunicado detention, or held them in unknown places of detention. Up to now, it's still happening. Others were subjected to forms of ill treatment, including acts that amount to torture during arrests and while in detention. These violations occurred amid a nationwide internet shutdown imposed by the authorities just 2 days before the election. Now, that's why we say, if they admit to killing 16, if your number is 16, remember, the internet was shut down. There's so many stories of people we shall never know, may never know. 3 months since security forces meted out untold brutality on the public, no one has been held accountable, said Tegere Cheguta, Amnesty International's regional director for East and Southern Africa. Ugandan authorities must ensure that all allegations of human rights violations by the security forces are thoroughly, promptly, impartially, and effectively investigated, and that the officers responsible are held accountable. That's not going to pass. It's not going to happen because the criminal regime survives on criminality. Okay. Officers suspected of carrying out these abuses, including those who ordered or enabled them, must be suspended from work pending the completion of investigations. Are you kidding me? Between 5th January and 21st March, Amnesty International interviewed 33 men and 15 women based in Kampala City, Rubaga, Luwero, Burenga, Mitiana, Mukono, Ruchiga, Mbarara, Luka, Wakiso, Rida, Tororo District, and Busoga region. 3 months since security forces meted out untold, again, they're quoting him. Those interviews included families of victims apparently killed by security forces, victims of gunshot injuries, victims of torture and other ill treatment, victims of arbitrary arrests, eyewitnesses and lawyers of those arbitrarily arrested. Amnesty International also reviewed 6 videos and 6 photos posted on social media or shared directly with the organization by trusted sources. The organization also reviewed charge sheets and official statements. Ugandan authorities did not respond to Amnesty International's request for a comment. Okay, let's go here. Amnesty International documented 10 incidents in which security officers appear to have used unlawful lethal force that resulted in the killing of at least 7 people in Butambala, at least 3 people in Bulenga, 2 people in Mukono, and 1 person in Rubaga, in Zambia, and Mityana and Mukono. Witnesses told Amnesty International that none of these victims was armed and they did not pose an imminent threat to death or serious injury to anyone. Now, I want to comment about Butambala because before the bodies of the people that were killed at the home of the Butambala Member of Parliament, Muwanga Chivumbi, Museveni immediately declared those people, announced them terrorists. He said they were terrorists and they should be charged for terrorism. This is the president of a country. He didn't even say, hey, sorry to the families that lost their loved ones. And he actually lied. He said these people were killed at polling stations. Well, if you check facts, these people were killed at Muhammad Muwanga Chivumbi's home. They were his polling agents who had gone there to be paid after working that night. Many of them were innocent. I mean, if you look at their stories, they don't even come close to be identified as lawbreakers. But hey, it's a Museveni criminal regime. Let's go here. What do they say? Amnesty International verified post-mortem report of 6 victims, all of which indicated that they had died from gunshot injuries. Family members told Amnesty International they were not allowed to witness the post-mortem process, and that authorities had not launched investigation into the deaths. On election night, as election agents of opposition members of parliament, Muwanga Chivumbi gathered in his home, again, sorry, I had not read this report, in Butambala, to return the declaration results forms. The army stormed the compound and shot and killed at least 7 people. Evidence gathered by Amnesty International indicates. The Inspector General of Police, Abbas Byakagaba, said the killings took place when over 100 people at Muwanga Chivumbi's home attempted to attack a nearby police station and a polling station. What? Come on, these people. Jeez. Gloria, whose mother was killed during the incident, recalled seeing her mother fighting for her life among those who had been shot. She pleaded with the army officers for an intervention, but one officer said, if you feel you are dying, get yourself out. Wow. On January 15th, in Rubaga, Victoria Ndagire, 33 years old, was walking back home with others after voting when she was shot from the back of her head with a bullet exiting through her eye. Jeez. They shot her and the bullet exited through her eye. Jeez. Security officers who came to the scene alleged that she could have been hit by a stone. Bro. Witnesses told Amnesty International that before the incident, they saw 2 armed officers nearby. According to her post-mortem report, she died from gunshot injuries. Amnesty International also documented 3 cases of individuals who said they were shot and injured by people they believed to be police or army officers. They reported sustaining injuries in the abdomen and the legs. 2 sources who were at Mulago National Referral Hospital in Kampala on January 15th and 16th said they saw at least 12 other people with gunshot injuries and that at least 3 of them died in hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go on and read this entire report. It's on social media. It's everywhere. But, it gives you a little bit, it hints on what really happened. They don't want to really, I believe they've not talked to everyone. Of course, it's impossible to talk to everyone, but I believe, like I said, they are trying to be conservative, and try to appear, they want to be right. It was more than worse. I mean, I don't know how to summarize what we witnessed. I don't know, because I covered those campaigns, and oh boy, there was something happening almost everywhere Bobi Wine went, almost on a daily basis. And then what happened when the internet was switched off? That will be told probably after after Museveni has left power. Yeah, because like they said, like they've just told us, they refuse to give a comment because they know for sure they will tell lies only to be exposed. So they would rather not give any comment. Let me know what you think. That's Amnesty International for you. Bye-bye for now.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.